Hey YouTube, I'm just going to show you some similarities and differences between the Hofner 500/1 bass and the Ignition series bass. So I have a couple modifications on the Ignition bass, so I'll show you the differences between how I changed those and the similarities of the new. Okay, so the body of the Ignition bass looks a little bit fatter in this way than the German bass. So let's start with the body, of course. So the pickguard is a little more beigeish here as opposed to this. Now, on the Ignition pickguard, as you can see, there's like a screw right there. I painted the white because it stands out and you can tell it's fake. And there's another screw right there and right there. So I didn't like that thing, so I painted that white. The pickup surroundings on this are different than these, and these pickups are different too, as you can see. So I'm going to show you the two pickups. Now, the bridge is also different. So take a look at this bridge here and the bridge here. So there's two screws on the bridge here as opposed to here. And the Hofner here has these weird white lines here as opposed to this one. This tailpiece end of the bridge right here, these little pole things are farther apart than this one. And this end piece right here is a little wider than this one. The control panel is different too. It's a little thinner in size as opposed to this way compared to this one. It's a little fatter. I changed the knobs to Hofner teacup knobs, and I painted the switches white because it just looks more better. I also painted the pickup surroundings because the screws were silver and I didn't like that, so I painted them black. Now, similarities to the body is, of course, it has the violin shape. And I think that's the only similarity in the body. As you can see here, it has the binding lining here, but you can see it from the front as opposed to this, where it's only on the sides. The jack for the plug is small here compared to this right here with the surrounding on it. Where is it? Here. This has weird silver strap ends here as opposed to the Hofner having the white ones. Now let's go to the back and compare the back too. Now, the finish on the 500/1 is of course much nicer compared to this one. The strap end screw is right here as opposed to on the Hofner where it's up here, not in the body. And as you can see, this pearloid, I guess, part right here is different to this one. I think that's the only difference is in the back, since we can just look at the back of the next two now. Now, this bass doesn't have anything on in the back except for the main Indonesia sign. Doesn't have any line or anything. Here, it has a Genuine Made in German symbol. And it has this line coming out. I'm assuming it's another piece of wood. The tuning pegs are different as well. As you can see, there's screws coming out of them as opposed to this one. Let's go to the neck. Now, there's no binding on the necks because the Contemporary has binding, of course, but not the 63s and 62s or Ignitions. The side, of course, has different finishes, but this one's a lot better, of course, than this one. So this is the neck. It is different, of course, because there's dots on here, but there's not. And this neck is much thinner than this neck. So let's put these guitars back up to the front and we can go up the neck and see the frets. Now, the frets, they have the same number of frets, but I feel like these are just a little tiny bit wider because the players are more experienced on this bass. The neck on the 63 is, of course, looped. I put the it's not looped, it's risen, so I can loop a strap. This is not. Cannot be looped. You can see from this side. But on this side, you can see that the strap is coming it through. Now the headstocks. Now, this was all black right here, the nut. So I painted it white with a black line through it, as opposed like this. This neck has a fret right here. This one doesn't. I took off the lettering on here on the plate, which said High B Bass Series or something like that. So I took that off. Put flat wound strings on here, as I think I said before. So this one also has flat wound strings. It's got small tuning pegs. Hofner logo. But this one is like a silverish, as opposed to the nice yellow goldish. This plate has 3 screws, as opposed to this one, which only has 1. And this plate's just a little flatter too. And I put white tape lining around it because this one has it, but this one's of course much nicer than this one. And I'm going to give you just the sound of how they could sound. Now, bear with me, this is an even pluck. I'll start off with the ignition. So that's the major similarities and differences between the Hofner Ignition Icon bass and the Hofner 500/163 bass. Thanks for watching.